take a ride on board the flying magic monkey machine. This is intentionally lo-fi. I don't want to set the bar or any expectations in any way high.
Could I introduce it using my phono fiddle?
Absolutely. We're going to have to overdub you with a professional recording of that instrument
just
to make
it with
anyway work.
Go to iTunes and just put Indian restaurant music, and that'll be fine. Can you not hear my voice very loudly then?
No, you sound absolutely perfect.
That's really weird.
The thing is, I think it's got software built into the application that favors voice over other sounds. So it blocks out background stuff like the Hoover or the kids going, Dad, can you PlayStations and all that kind of thing. How are you, man?
I'm good. I was on holiday for a couple of weeks in July, so I'm still feeling like my sort of post-holiday freshness is still with me. The weather is good. Business is good. Yeah, I'm all right. How about yourself? It must be hot in Malta at the moment, isn't it?
Man, it's at the end of heat waves. We got up to like 39, 40 degrees, which is basically you just stay inside. You know, you don't really want to go out. I mean, you can, but it's just not a very nice experience unless there's aircon in the soft play with the attached restaurant area where you can hide and everything. You know, it's just.
Have you gone contact lenses or had eye surgery, or are you just choosing to?
It's a bit weird. Every so often I don't know how to explain it, but I get a day where I can kind of see without glasses. I don't know why. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. I once landed in Los Angeles, and for a whole day it was better without glasses. I could see, and I think it was the jet lag or something. And I've been burning the candle in every end it has to offer.
Oh well, so it's super. You know, when you just know someone and they always wear glasses. It's just you look borderline like someone else. I know.
I'm a normal human with that.
I like the Between Two Ferns set that you've gone for as well.
Like this. Yeah. Holiday Freshness sounds like a blues album you should record.
Yeah, or a fragrance for like a bathroom fragrance.
So you probably listened to podcasts before and frequented a few of them, I would have thought. Do you ever listen to podcasts?
Yeah, but like unbelievably middle class boring ones. Like I like Desert Island Discs.
I love that.
It's amazing. Or Tail Enders, which is a cricket podcast. So, but yeah, you know what? That is just finding the time to watch anything.
Yeah.
And then just realizing that the quantity of stuff that's being produced every day, whether it's TV or podcast or YouTube or whatever it is wow. It's like, how do you?
There's a lot of noise, isn't there?
Yeah, and then almost actually you end up going. There's so much noise that what you really crave is silence.
Yeah, no.
So like the more that comes at you, the more you just go, God, I just don't want to watch any of it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's when you're a creator, I think it's a harder situation. I didn't know you were into cricket. When were you into cricket? I would have historically said it's like my third or fourth favorite sport, but the England team under Ben Stokes, and maybe even going back a bit longer than that, is so exciting to watch now. I might put cricket as my number one sport. Wow.
The latest England versus India series of test matches was superb. I'm super looking forward to the Ashes in the Aussie summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like cricket. Is there a Maltese cricket team?
Well, funny you should say that. I don't think there is, but in the park across from where I live, which is a beautiful little park, if I go there in the mornings to walk around, get a coffee, exercise, or whatever, you will find at the bottom of the park Nepalese people playing cricket, and they are fucking unbelievable. They take random pieces of wood and bind them together to create their own homemade cricket bats. They make stumps. What are they called?
Yeah.
Stumps out of just bits of driftwood and bricks and stuff on the floor. But they play so well. I have to tell my kids to back away from the area where they're batting and play on the swings or walk in a circle around, because they smack it so hard. It's really phenomenal to watch.
I mean, certainly when I was when I was a kid, and maybe even generations before me, like in this country where you would just see kids kicking a ball around like some sort of council estate, sort of, and that was such a huge part of your childhood. In India, that's always been, and even in the Caribbean to a certain extent, that's it. The kids just get out and they find anything to make bats and balls and wickets out of, and they play everywhere. And certainly in India, the sort of the David Beckham level recognizable sports guys out there are all the famous cricketers. It's just mental.
It's true. When I was in India, there were posters everywhere for superstar cricket players.
Yeah.
There were huge billboards celebrating the marriage of a cricket player to some supermodel. They get a completely different level of respect over there than I'd ever seen in England.
American people just cannot get their heads around the fact that this process can take up to 5 days to complete.
Yeah. Americans, can you imagine a baseball game that lasts 5 days?
And ultimately, if at the end of the 5 days you haven't managed to completely bowl out both teams, it's a draw. The concept of a team batting and a team fielding is, yes, there are comparisons to baseball, but the way runs are scored and the way people are, I suppose, if you're caught out, it's the same, but obviously you're bowled out differently in cricket to baseball.
I saw a clip on Instagram recently of some baseball clip, and I'm not into sports at all other than sort of martial arts really. But there was this one clip of this guy who saw a ball coming in and he did a backflip and mid-air caught this ball and then landed in like a superhero pose. And I was like, come on, man. They're on some kind of juice. That's insane.
I just think any sport where somebody runs at you quickly and then throws a rock hard, imagine something the size of a tennis ball, but basically made of wood covered in leather. And they throw that at you at not quite 100 miles an hour, but, not far short of 100 miles an hour. And they throw it at you from about 20 yards away. And the idea is you've got a little bit of wood, bit of stick that you've got to try and hit this very fast moving, swinging, bouncing ball. And if you miss it and it hits you, obviously that's very painful.
Yeah,
but yeah,
there's no pads. They don't wear any kind of protective.
Well, no, they do. They're professional crash helmets, and they've got plenty of padding on. But nonetheless, I mean, if it hits you in the nether regions, and all you got is a little plastic ball protector, it's still bleeding hurts.
Well, my Nepalese boys, they don't wear any.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they use a really big tennis ball that they've wrapped thick string around.
I do love all of that sort of. I find it. I love watching. When you see I've been to the Caribbean a few times, and the kids are on the beach playing, and it's just amazing. I've never been to India, but I've seen you see the clips in the streets, and they're incredibly impoverished parts of the world, and yet there they are. They're using anything they can to try and living the dream that if they become a professional cricketer, they'll that's it, like generational lives changed, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll be in some kind of Bollywood movie with dancing women, super attractive, highly educated.
Are you into Bollywood?
You know what? I really love India. It's the one place. I've done a lot of Southeast Asian traveling. India was the one place that really really broke me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it broke me. Well, you know me enough to know I'm quite an emotional person, and it was the difference between the poor and the rich was so extreme that I found that quite difficult to deal with, and it's so on display. You step out of the airport, there are just people sleeping on the floor, dogs in packs. You'd stay away from them. I saw a dead person. I saw people, it's going to sound really dodgy, but people blacking up to then beg, thinking that they would get more because they looked as if they were African and people would give more to Africans. I have a photograph of a guy who's blacked up, coming up to the car window begging for, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, you see everything that you can't even begin to sort of conceptualize what India is like. But the interesting thing was, even the really poor people were kind of sort of, I don't want to use the word happy, but they kind of had something going on where they were just kind of quite peaceful and complacent and chilled. I would wake up and go for a walk, which I then got told was a really bad idea around the hotel. But people were just climbing trees to get mangoes and coconuts and bananas and things, and then coming down and then selling them on the street, or eating them. And there was spirituality everywhere. I mean, literally, doesn't matter where you look. If you were spun 360 and stopped, you would see either on the floor a big chalk mandala, which was to bring prosperity into a home, or there was a god on a, someone chiseled out a hole in a lamppost and put one of the god figures inside this lamppost. Everywhere. In Malta, it's pastry shops and Jesus or Mary. And in India, it's the pantheon of 1,000 deities and pastries.
I think it's quite difficult, impossible even, if you've grown up in the UK or most of Europe, I would say, to really get a sense of what real poverty looks like. Like we have there are people living in the UK right now, thousands, millions of people in the UK that would be defined as poor by whatever our British definition of poverty is, and yet it's completely different as soon as you go to Africa or India or parts of Asia, South America. Anyway, what is this podcast about?
Well, no, that's it. It's really a hang. I've got questions I want to ask you about things, but
I just, me, I sort of like, if you're starting to get political, I go, I need to put a brown paper bag over my head and pretend to be something else.
we should totally do a politics podcast. People would absolutely love that. But I was just thinking,
I might need to be a parody of myself and just sort of, I don't know, come up and pretend to be like Uber Nigel Farage or something like that. Okay. But well,
I love that we're both wearing corporate colours. Look at that. That's pretty special, isn't it?
I made an effort today to not wear an Andertons t-shirt just so someone could see me in something else.
In an attempt to bring this around to something vaguely musical.
Okay.
I noticed online that it's Norm's Guitar's 50th anniversary. I know that Andertons is on year number 61 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good research.
Well, I have known Andertons for a while. 15 years. By the way, everybody, it's 15 years since Lee and I started shooting videos as of May the 18th.
Which is mad, right? Because relatively speaking, I feel I was actually quite old when we started. And now I'm like, even
now we're
almost decrepit now. Yeah.
There's a lot of beard clinging to my face. But I was just thinking, so Andertons has made it to 61. Norm's is 50. But then at the same time, some legacy stores, I mean, for example, in the UK, PMT, GAC, going down. So what do you think is it that makes the difference between a store that really survives thrives, grows, and a store that doesn't? Because I don't think we could say that PMT or GAC were not well known. What do you think is it? What's the magic sauce?
So many different reasons why. If you just take, the business is changing in, why did Sam Ash go bust? Why did PMT go bust? All that kind of stuff. So many different reasons. In a nutshell, I think the most successful retailers do a really great job of predicting and very quickly adapting to changing consumer habits. And I think most retailers who go bust, particularly ones that have been around for a few years, you can go, yeah, they got it really right 15 years ago, and then thought, oh, that's how you do it then, and they don't change. So the really successful retailers in any form of retail, ultimately we're here to try to deliver what a customer wants. So if you can't stay on top of what does the customer want, and what the customer wants changes every single year and will have done for the whole 61 years that Andertons has been around. So very conscious about going, just because you got it right one year doesn't mean you'll get it right the next year. So there's that. If you look at consumer behavior, 100% now, consumers are bombarded with information in a way that they've have never been in the past. So the access to information is incredible now, and obviously AI is going to make it even more insane. Or yeah, I was going to say that the validity of the information you're being served up might be called into question, but there's bucket loads of it, right? So customers are they're almost overwhelmed now. So they're choosing the things that they really care about when they want to buy something. So I think if you take guitars, really people are going, oh my God, there's so much information. There's like 1,000 different brands and 1,000,000 different models and da-da-da. So they're literally just going, well, what does my favorite guitar player play? They play that, who's my favorite, or my favorite influencer, what does he play, she play? And then I think they kind of pretty much decided what they want to buy before they even engage with the retailer. And the retailer is there just to maybe reassure that it's a good decision or not a bad decision, to reassure them that if there's a problem with it, it'll get sorted out. But I don't really feel, in a way that when I first started selling guitars, and we were really a part of what was the choice you were going to make? Like, hello, Mr. Guitar Storekeeper, I'm interested in buying another guitar. I've got £300. What do you think I should buy? That never happens anymore. It's just literally, you just get, oh, hi, can I try the XYZ because I'm interested in buying it? Yeah, no problem. So I think what's happened now is, what then happens is the really big brands, the Fenders and the Gibsons and the blah, do a much better job because they've got all the marketing money to make sure that they're the brand that's in the focus of the customer's mind. And then the really big retailers do a great job of making sure that they've got that stock and the best offer of that stock. So I guess what's happening is that the sort of the building blocks is the customer's the customer is now the number of brands that are sort of in that customer's consciousness is consolidating into the brands that have got the most marketing money. The retailers are consolidating into the retailer that's just got the best offer on the day for the product you've already decided that you want to buy. And everybody on the periphery of that, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Whatever. It is going, wow, this is tough. And so you've really, really got to try and find your angle and your reason for being, because you're just going to get squeezed out of that mainstream.
Yeah.
So if you're in a if you're a brand of like Chapman guitars or whatever, you've got to find a really compelling angle to be different. And if you're a small retailer, you've got to find the same. You've got to find your compelling angle to be different. And that's why I think lots of small retailers are turning towards secondhand gear or repairs or whatever, because they can be good and they can be different there.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing as well, if you take the Gap and the PMT thing, and again, I'm slightly hesitant to sort of go down this path because I know there was some amazing staff in both of those businesses trying to do their best. But I don't think it's a coincidence that about 4 or 5 years ago, both of those businesses were sold by their founders to private equity companies. And if the guy at the if the person, the guy or the girl, the family or whatever at the top are the founders and it's their blood, sweat and tears that have gone into building that business, they will, in my opinion, they will try much harder to save that business when things get tough than if it's a private equity company that go, well, I've got 300 companies in my portfolio and that one's been a bit difficult for the last 3 years. Can we just get rid of that one? Yeah, okay.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think, I mean, you are proof of this. You know, I mean, you know, you and your dad and all the original crew 61 years ago, you know, I remember looking at the photographs at the very first introduction of Andertons videos that we made, thinking, wow, I bet they only had like 3 guitar brands. And but you know, obviously Andertons has had hard times as well, but as a family brand, you do everything, and sometimes the decisions are not always financial, they're brand building. And probably you're right, I didn't know that about Gap. That's kind of
again, I don't want to, you could equally, the founder of Sweetwater sold to private equity about 2 years ago, and from what I hear about that, that's just going from strength to strength. So you know, clearly it's not a recipe for disaster to choose to go down that route. But
the decisions they'll make with an equity company in charge will always be financial, because that's the remit.
I think it's easier to walk away. Like if it's your if that's 20 years or 50 years of your family, you know, you're so invested to not let it fail. Whereas I suppose with private equity, you're right, it's a financial, if financially the right decision is to walk away and just wind it up, walk away, you know. I think also as well, it's interesting, and this is again, I have to be careful a bit. I am not inferring any business did this or anything, but equally I have seen, because there's so many relationships formed, generally speaking, businesses that are still owned by the sort of the founder family, whatever, that are going to fail and know they're going to fail, really, really try hard to fail in a way that the least people possible get burnt. And that doesn't happen. Like in sort of private equity, it's almost the flip side. It's like, can we just make sure that everyone else other than us gets as burnt as possible, so that, you know, this is when it becomes to the point where you go, look, there's no other alternative other than to you know, allow this business to fail. It's just it's going to become insolvent. But I don't know. So I'm not a fan of private equity in the music industry, but I accept when you get to the size of a Fender or a Gibson or even some of the retailer, you know, Sweetwater, when you know, if you get that big and you as the founder just goes, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to retire, whatever, like that. Quite often it's the only viable option. But
I had a really interesting chat with what can I say about this? Some of the new high up guys at Guitar Center, they recently had a bit of an exodus of staff, did a big change. And had a really interesting meeting with a lot of the new bods in digital marketing and this sort of area. And a lot of them were from Universal Audio. which was very interesting. And they said to me that some of the previous people who'd been in their positions, making decisions, were mainly from grocery stores, from commercial food selling. And so you kind of think, well, no wonder GC had problems, because there's such a different path to selling a musical instrument than there is a carrot, because guitars are an entirely emotional product.
I've seen that a lot, and I've been involved, again, not in terms of, I've not worked for one, but I've seen venture capital or private equity take over a business, and they'll have their, because they'll have a portfolio of companies, they'll have a resource to draw on to go, we'll bring this IT team in from here, or we'll bring this HR team in from here, or whatever. And they'll be like, they will have been hyper successful in some other industry. And of course, the private equity people are going, that's what we do. We buy this failing company, we parachute these people in, they turn it around, boom, off we go. That's the model, right? And so you do see that. And I've met lots of people, and I would say it has been a mixed bag. Like people who have been hyper successful in other industries, and they try to apply that to the music industry, and you're just going, what are you doing? It's but then equally, I think I've seen some really great ideas as well. I've seen people come, the music industry, and I'm talking about making or selling products rather than recording music or whatever. For many, many years, and still now predominantly, is full of people who tried to be in a rock and roll band when they were 15. It didn't work. So they got a job in a guitar store, and somehow they've been good or that. And then, step, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm the managing director of X. Yeah. So you've got this hyper concentrated expertise from this very narrow field of selling guitars. So I think sometimes it's really good to bring in people that go, no, I went to university and got a qualification, then was really successful in this other business. Let me see what I can impart to your business. And then sometimes things come up where you just go, no, the musical instruments is so weird that the only people who know how to do this well are people who've only ever done this.
Yeah. It's such an emotional decision, buying a guitar. Nobody thinks about the guitar they're going to buy because it's an absolute necessity, unless they're like a touring full-time artist that needs a particular hammer for a particular nail, but otherwise, if you're buying a guitar, it's because you fell in love with the look and you saw a person using it, or you can imagine holding it and smelling it, and then you decide you're going to buy it. That's
struggle is maybe not the right word, but in my sort of dream world of loveliness, where there's no real stress at Andertons, it's the success all comes from really feeling like the objective of Andertons is just to create this environment where people just really get immersed in the joy of making music and talking about it and doing it and practicing and all that kind of stuff. And we should really be trying to just create this wonderful environment where within that can all happen and spread the word and make YouTube videos that sort of spread that sentiment. And then people just buy guitars, and the sales targets just happen because really we're in an industry where people would love to buy more guitars if they could. It's not like that was my only other job before I started at Andertons, was selling photocopiers. And that is, nobody wants to buy a photocopier. It's just a necessary evil if you have an office, or it used to be when I first started, maybe less so now. But there's no, there's not a single guitar player or musician on the planet that if they won the lottery tonight wouldn't be legging it down to their local guitar store to buy 30 guitars. It's like,
yeah, it's true.
So that's my sort of dream state, kind of like, really, we don't have to try to sell anything because we just have to make this wonderful environment and people will buy stuff anyway. And then I think sometimes I think you're being naive here, Lee. You know, you've got 150 members of staff that need to get paid every month, and bills to pay and suppliers to pay. And and some months will be tough. And sometimes you just got to sell some stuff, you know, and do what you need to do. But I don't know, my make-believe world of, you know, what I hope we're doing is more often than not is really not trying to sell anything. We're trying to create something else within which, fortunately, sales happen. If that makes any sense.
No, it was a really good answer. I mean, but effectively what I'm taking home from that is the ability to change is what allows not just musical instrument retail, but all businesses to survive, isn't it, really? I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. If you can't change, you're not going to stay current.
Here's the one, you know, is Amazon the enemy? As in, because I see a lot of retailers, especially in music, just going, oh, bloody Amazon, you know, like they're going to be the death of it. So are they the enemy, or actually is the customer the problem, in inverted comma, because they're just going, but I just want what Amazon do. I just want acquiring the thing that I want to acquire to be the simplest, fastest thing possible.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted that. And Amazon just worked it out.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't believe personally that as long as a retailer is playing by the rules, and I suppose you probably could maybe point the finger at Amazon and go, look, it's a bit unfair. If you can make a loss every year and keep going, it's quite difficult to compete against that if your business requires you to make a profit. And I know that for many, many years in the early days, or at least I believe, Amazon's retail arm was largely funded by its web services arm. But yeah, look, I don't blame, I just think the consumer, you know, if consumers preferred to go to a music store that was closed 2 days a week and didn't stock the item that they wanted but could special order it and was difficult to find, and the member of staff was eating their fish and chips at the counter when you walked in, if that's what consumers wanted, they'd go there.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, but that, in my opinion, is not what consumers want. And Amazon have done an amazing job of going, I think this is what consumers want. So for a music store, it's about probably looking at Amazon and going, okay, well, we've got to somehow take the elements that Amazon do really well and try to replicate that, albeit unbelievably difficult. And then we've got to, you can also look at Amazon and go, well, what are the bits they don't do very well? Well, they don't employ expert salespeople to help you choose, and they have a slightly odd attitude towards returns. You know, it's like, hello, I can't tune my guitar. Oh, here's a label, send it back. We'll throw it in landfill and send you another one. And it's like, no, I just need someone to help me tune my guitar. You know, it's like, so I kind of feel like, you know, and I think the average music stop, and certainly Andertons, is much, much more invested in the quality of the product that they sell. Yeah. You know, with Amazon, it feels a bit like, you know what, there's a trillion Chinese brands on there with, like, you know, 10,000 reviews. It's like, I'll buy one of those. I don't suppose Amazon really know whether they're any good or not. It's just probably it's all algorithmically. Yeah, you know, I sort of feel like anything that you buy from Andertons or probably any other music shop, somebody hopefully with some integrity has made a decision to buy and sell that item. So you're kind of hoping there must have been some useful thought process has gone through that.
I wonder how far away on the heels of Amazon is Temu. They must be, you know, really, just turned my aircon on by accident. They must be really just nipping at the heels, because everyone that I talk to is on Temu all day long, just buying, you know, something for £1 and then something for, you know, £2.
Well, that I think that's the interesting that's the route to market challenge, I think, for retailers and distributors, which is ultimately the product that you buy, assuming that, let's take let's take a guitar. I was trying to avoid using a musical instrument, but let's take a guitar. The reality is that guitar is made somewhere in a factory. If you minus out the very, very small luthiers or whatever. So it's made in a factory. A lot of what comes out of the Far East, the factory is not owned by the brand that ends up being on that guitar. So fine. So the factory goes, well, I'm going to make it and I'm going to mark it up so I've got my profit margin. The brand who ordered it goes, fine, I'll buy it to then sell it on to my distributor with my profit margin in it. The distributor then goes, I'll sell it to my retail network with my profit margin on it. And then the retailer says, I'll sell it to my customer with my profit margin on it. And then depending on the country you live in, the government says, and I'll have my profit margin, i.e. VAT on top of that. Boom. So what if you could just buy that product direct from the factory with no brand on it, through no distribution, through no retail? I guess you still have to pay VAT. Actually, no, you don't, do you, with Temu, if it's below £130 in the UK or something like that. Yep. So, so what if you could do that? You get the same product, don't you? I think you get the same product. I think there's probably a trust issue there of like, is it the same product? I'm not really sure, but you're probably getting the same product. It might not have the brand on it that you wanted it to have. You might not be so convenient to get someone to help you use it if you didn't buy it through retail, whatever. And that's what Temu are doing. And that's a real disruptor, a massive disruptor. Because it's like, so that £3 t-shirts is probably a better example than guitars in fairness. That £3 t-shirt is probably the £40 t-shirt in
absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Marks and Spencer's.
Yeah, that's it. And you can't help but feel, probably with the connectivity of the internet, that's the way it will move. Everyone will just be, I have my own manufacturing, I'll sell direct, I don't need any of the middlemen, cut it all out. It's
I mean, that's again, you know what though? I tell you who will decide if that's what it does or not, will be the customer. The customer will go, I don't want to. And the important bit is everybody in the middle, the brand, the distributor, the retailer, as they're typically the three people in the middle, they've each got to go, what value am I adding to the consumer to justify the profit margin I want to make out of this? And if you can justify it, if you know what value you're adding and you can convince the customer it's worth paying for that, you'll be okay. If you don't know what value you're adding, and then the customer doesn't feel like they have any value from what you're adding, then that's it. Your days are numbered, because Amazon will get rid of you first, and if Amazon don't get rid of you, Temu will get rid of you next. So I think about that a lot with Andertons around what is the value that we're adding. Yeah, because and does the customer want to pay for that value? If they don't, then we're done. Well, maybe it's an interesting hypothesis. I think there's a lot of and again, I don't want to name names, but that would be my single piece of advice to every music shop owner that there is out there. What value are you adding to the consumer? Be brutal. Do you just open the door at 9 o'clock in the morning? Is that the only value that you add? That's interesting. It's like, because if you don't know exactly what value you're trying to add and you can't justify that, then I'll tell you it's like, so when a brand like Fender decides to sell direct as opposed to through a retailer, and a retailer gets all grumpy about, it's like, what value are you adding to this to warrant Fender giving you a chunk of the sale? If it's literally, if there is no value, if it's like, hello, Mr. Retailer, have you got this Fender XYZ in stock? No, I haven't, but I can special order it for you. Oh, okay. Could you special order it for me then? Yeah, okay, no problem. Boom. Thank you. Here you are, Mr. Customer. I'll take the money and I've got my chunk of that. What value did you add?
Yeah.
Like none, really.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you see because
let's go more lighthearted, Rob. This got very serious.
No, keep it real, man. Keep it real.
Okay.
Did you see Rick Beato interview David Gilmour?
I'm so jealous.
I'm
just jealous. I'm jealous. I sort of feel like, and me personally, like the Lee Anderton Captain Meets thing, I sort of feel like I got my foot in the door before Rick did, being the guy that would interview people. And then Rick came along and just did it 100 times better than I do. And now he's doing all the A-list superstars. And I'm just like, damn it. If only I'd spent a bit more time and tried harder to do that. But he did Joe Perry and Brad Whitford recently. He's done a second interview with David Gilmour. He's just done them all. But he's so good at it.
No, he's amazing. He's really, I mean, he's an incredible musician. I spoke to Rick recently because I'm recording this project and I asked him to play guitar in it, and he literally said, "Oh, but you know, I'm not really a guitar. I'm not really that good." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
I know he is.
Do you know who you are? It's just phenomenal. But yeah, he's really sort of sewn up.
You know what? So if I'm going to do an interview with somebody, I feel like it's important to just feel like you're quite good at just being a natural communicator and listening and talking. But I also feel as well, it really helps if you can understand about the career that artist has had and understand musically where they come from. So if I'm going to do, if I feel like I really need to do the best interview that I can, I end up trying to research, and then I don't have enough time to do the research. So it ends up being maybe badly researched. And I think what Rick does brilliantly, and it comes very naturally to him, is he just has such a depth of knowledge of the music industry that he can do these interviews, I think, with relatively little research, because he knows it all anyway. It's just,
he's such a skillful guitar player that he can pick up on very small nuances in playing technique, and then reference that. Like I saw him talking about how, I forget the guitar player's name, but he was strumming a chord with completely equal pressure. Most people attack at the top and then kind of push through, and this guy was just letting it go through. And he said that's one of the differences in your rhythm sound, is that you are completely even with your strumming. And I thought to see that and to hear it is a very unique kind of listening skill. Yeah,
but even when it comes to Rick's ability to talk about an artist's back catalogue and where it was recorded and who was engineering it and all that, he just knows it all. Anyway, no, I think we're actually quite lucky to have Rick in the world, just because I sort of feel like if he wasn't doing it, no one else would. Like these artists aren't the kind of person that, this is going to be very British, but like, these aren't the kind of artists that you're going to get on Desert Island Discs, but he kind of does a similar level of quality interview that you would normally have to be like a Hollywood superstar A-lister to be interviewed. Anyway, no, that's enough of the Rick Beato. He doesn't need any more of our help or support, Rob. What are you doing? The guy's got 10 million subscribers as it is.
We love Uncle Rick, and he gave me just personally some unbelievably generous advice and time, and in a time when I really needed it, and was just nothing but an amazing person. But you've met loads of super famous, incredible people, either at Captain's Meets or just in general life, being Captain Lee Anderton. Who was the one person that when you met them, you were like, oh my God, it's them? I'm not easily starstruck. I just think it's not in my nature. And I think largely as well because very, very quickly, even when you meet a guitar player or a musician that sold a gabillion records, really they're just quite happy to talk about that new Tube Screamer that's in the cabinet and like just they're normal.
at least I don't think I've ever, I've never met anybody and gone, wow, that guy's so up himself. It's unbelievable. They're all nice and normal. I was definitely starstruck when I met John Mayer.
I knew you were going to say.
Definitely starstruck.
I was going to say, and why is it John Mayer?
Yeah. But, albeit I haven't, as people will know, I've not interviewed John Mayer, but I have hung with John Mayer maybe 3 times for a bit. He probably won't remember any of them, but like just backstage, whatever, at a show. And yeah, the first time was like, it's just, I was a proper I got embarrassing, like literally, like proper fangirl. Like I literally walked away and laid on the floor. Just literally, it's just like it was so bad, so cringeworthy. But the second and third time was like, it was just normal. It was like not like, how are the kids? Did you have a nice weekend? But like just relatively, what guitar have you been playing recently? It's just normal.
I love that.
Who's the I still have a real soft spot, and he might not even know this, but I still have a real soft spot for Joey Landreth and Brothers Landreth, because I really feel like, like when somebody goes, oh, have you heard this album? And no one's heard of this album. And it's just like, and you listen to it and you go, that's a fucking great album. I love this album. And nobody's heard of it, I still feel like I had that experience with when the, Let It Lie album, couldn't remember the name, was out. And then I feel like I had this weird moment where I reached out to Joey and just went, I've listen to the album, I love it, do you want to come on Andertons TV, talk about it like that? And he was like, wow, that would be amazing. And the stars aligned, and he was coming to the UK anyway relatively soon after that email exchange. And then I really feel like Andertons TV played a part of going, you guys need to listen to this band out there, and then the trajectory kind of started for them, and we sort of gave them some little ditty leg up like that. And I don't know if Joey feels the same. He might sort of go, that's not what happened at all. We were super famous before we were, I still listen back to that album and I still go, oh, man, it's such a great album. And I'm so pleased that we were able to sort of give that little leg up to an artist that maybe wasn't that well known before then.
Well, that's one of the things that you're able to offer to consumers, because through the YouTube channel, we reach a lot of people through Andertons, and then we can do things like that where you can say, here is an amazing artist, you got to go check him out, and that is it's a different kind of service, because you're not selling a guitar through doing that. You're doing I suppose in the industry of labels and music, you're doing fan service is what you're doing. You're just helping a bro out, It's quite hard though, because I think also as well, I'm very conscious of the fact that what Andertons is not here to do is have 100 new bands a year on to sort of go, here's this band that are emerging, and that's not, really, I feel bad really, because I'm aware that we're supposed to be interviewing guitar players that guitarists are already quite familiar with and would like to know more about, rather than someone you've never heard of. So it doesn't, I don't do a lot of those, like, you've never heard of these guys, but let's talk to them type videos. But I kind of feel like that Brothers Landreth album had such a profound effect on me. It was just like, everybody needs to listen to this music. I think it would be great if maybe you and I or Yumi and Pete did like an Andertons video that's a compilation of 10 guitar players that you've probably never heard of that you should do, and then the three of us just pick the top people that we're listening to now. Who are you listening to now then? Because I hate this question, because I literally just go, I haven't listened to any new music since 1994. But
Who are you listening to that's new?
I'm not particularly good with names.
Yeah.
But what I do is I subscribe and then I see them in the feed consistently. There's one country guy who plays with two kind of B-benders on a beaten up old telly. And I've been watching his videos now for about a year and a half, and he completely blows my mind. It's not often that I watch a guitar player and go, I actually don't know how he's doing that, but I literally have no idea how he's doing it, because it's beyond just B-bending. So what he's playing is phenomenal technique with the left hand, incredible technique with the right, and then this additional double or treble bending system that means it, and a slide, by the way. So it's all this incredible emotive Americana. So he would be number one, but I can't remember his name. I feel awful now because everyone's going to be going, it's this guy. You should have remembered his name and done the service and everything. But I don't. Anika, there's this amazing Indian young girl that just shreds like no one you've ever heard. Phenomenal. Just 80s style rock stuff. She could play everything, you know. Who else? There's an amazing flamenco guitar player that I watch. She did a cover of oh man, I'm gonna find it. Hold on, let me put my glasses on. You'll recognize me better.
Oh, Rob,
it's me,
man. I literally thought I'd been talking to Ken from Reverend Guitars for the last hour.
Actually, I was talking to Ken on text just a few days ago.
He's coming over to the UK later this year again, so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so Mercedes Lujan is her name. And she is absolutely phenomenal. No, wait.
That's Mia Khalifa, Rob. You're on the wrong page.
Yeah, that's the wrong. Wait. I'll find it. Hold on. There it is. That lady there. It's trying to play. So Mercedes Lujan, MERCEDESLUJAN, and the track is Ahora, AHORA, O Nunca.
Yeah. I've got some sort of poppy things that I've got into recently because my girls just listen to Radio 1 a lot. So
K-pop Demon Hunters?
No. Oh yeah, they watch that film for sure.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
I'm going to say, really, they're not super new, but I really like a little kind of rock band called the Amazons. Nothing to do with the big online retailer. And then there's a really cool artist called Maya Delilah who does some very John Mayer-y kind of really tasteful player. And then more recently, and I'd never heard of this dude, but he's worked with the JHS guys to do a pedal or something like that. But a guy called McGee, which is like MKGEE. I don't know what his first name is, but I think he's collaborated with Justin Bieber. Don't shoot me, but he's on it. His solo stuff is very dreamy, kind of interesting guitar. It's not shreddy, but it's very guitar based. Yeah, and he's got this kind of interesting new. I say new, like the guitar sound is not one that I would normally like. It's like a very sounds like it's plugged straight into the desk and you're using the desk to kind of overdrive it. It's almost
David Gilmour did.
Yeah, but it's not. Maybe it is. No, I would say it. But it's anyway. And lots of modulated guitar effects on there, but all nice, like 2-minute pop songs, but kind of nice voice. So there you go. That's what.
What do you think about the state of guitar YouTube at the moment? I'm looking. I was telling you recently, I got contacted by this AI company that wanted to access all of my data because I've got one of the biggest online guitar, video resources, and I suddenly realized how long I'd been making guitar videos and remembering what it was like back in the day with just the 4 or 5 people that made guitar videos on the internet, and it feels like it's really shifted. The whole of Guitar Tube to Guitar Talk seems to have moved.
You're so right.
dramatically. What do you think it's shifting into? Do you think it's a cyclical phase, or do you see any trends?
It's a great question, isn't it? And I suppose what do I think?
Because it's not
I
all
think
puppets and wigs like we used to.
Yeah, I think YouTubers now, particularly younger people, are petrified of putting out a video that shows any kind of imperfection whatsoever. They've got to look right. Everything's got to be nailed on. It's just the lighting's got to be. And I think that's unhealthy. And it's unhealthy on probably multiple levels. It's very it becomes inaccessible to most people. Like, I'm just not good enough, so I can't do this. Or the people who are trying to produce the content put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect all the time and portray this personality that they are naturally perfect all the time, as opposed to what they almost certainly are, which it will be flawed in some way. They won't be perfect. So I don't know. I don't like that. I mean, I think that the Giacomo thing from a few months ago, that's kind of what happens if there's so much pressure to just be to produce that content, because that's what you perceive the comments section wants. You fake it to do it, and that's not good. And then of course all. So I would like to see, and you said, is it cyclical? I would like to see, and I actually don't watch enough YouTube now to really feel like I'm a good barometer for what's happening. But I'd like to see some reality. I'd like to just see people like singing badly and playing badly.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It's one of the reasons that I'm doing this lo-fi podcast. Yeah. So one of the reasons is I do a lot of traveling so that I can be anywhere at any point, open a laptop up and just chat to friends and family and people who are interesting and different. And there's no expectation that the video will look great or the audio will sound impeccable, but the content will be real. Because I don't think going forward that people, they just won't know if it's real. They'll have no idea. And I think although it will be possible to create, the hair, the imperfections, it'll be much harder. And I crave the reality with the glove puppets and the wigs and the crazy fun is what I miss in content now. Because when I'm approached by brands to make demonstrations of product, now it's quite a rigid sort of it must be this, it must be that, and I'm like, I think you're missing a trick. I think the world wants crazy and fun.
I think, I mean, look, I've always, yes, it's you, me, and the rest of the Andertons crew are flying the flag for like slightly rough around the edges, slightly shit, but actually pretty real guitar playing in the world. Come on. But no, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not sure that for me. I mean, look, if I'm probably going to go back to like a marketing thing necessarily, rather than maybe what music should be about. But I do think if you look at predominantly where we as YouTubers are, we're part of how a brand gets a message across to the consumer about a new piece of gear that they've got. And I think the brands that get it right understand that what the brand should do is the highly aspirational, the super good looking guy or the super good looking girl drives around the mountaintop in the soft top Ferrari wearing the expensive sunglasses as the sun's kind of going down. And we all secretly know we can never be that guy or girl, but we want to be, That's the bit. So that, I don't know what the Fender Gibson version of that is, but I guess it's Slash looking super fucking cool and playing, you know, Sweet Child of Mine, fucking perfect. And, you know, the audience going mental, beautifully shot, lit, everything perfect. That's Gibson. Then what we need to do is the sort of the second tier of sort of, we sort of validate, but validate fairly professionally. We're like, okay, so I'm gonna, is that really achievable to be Slash? No, probably not, but it's still pretty good, right? So we're at like that next level. And then I think you do, as a brand, you want the user generated content, which is like, here's a dude that can't play very well who's going to film this thing really badly. That's really what the product sounds like if you put it in the hands of somebody like that. And I think that's, the consumer is kind of educated enough, or should be educated enough, to sort of go, okay, I understand the aspirational nature, the validation bit in the middle, and then the reality down here.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like too many people need to know that the aspirational bit at the top isn't real, and people shouldn't strive to be that, because that's the fantasy make-believe bit.
Yeah,
that's not the reality bit. The reality bit is the user generated content down at the bottom here.
And also the bit that the one thing that makes any guitar sound better is being a better player. And
so I thought you were going to say a Victory guitar amplifier.
And a Victory guitar amplifier, and a new X Academy stop. You know, I went to this really fun Scottish guitar dreams experience, and man, there were some phenomenal guitar players there. But
John Goldie is here on Monday.
Have you ever seen him play guitar?
No, this will be my John Goldie Captain Meets on Monday morning.
He will probably make you cry. It's unbelievable.
Is he the perfection that we don't believe really exists, except very occasionally does exist? And then we can all go, I'll just cut my own fingers off.
Fucking hell, man. Beyond. He's the Loch Ness Monster.
Is he?
That guy, he's so lovely. He's like, oh, hi there. It's nice to be. I can't wait to play guitar for you today. Then let me play you some of this wee stuff. And then he'll start playing. And you're like, how is that fucking humanly possible? Who,
as a living, breathing, real human being, as opposed to some AI invented thing, who's the closest to perfection on guitar, in your opinion?
Perfection technically, or perfection emotionally?
It can be a very personal question. Perfect for you.
Oh, that's a very, very good question.
You never see them make a mistake, and and you sort of genuinely believe it's probably because they never do make a mistake, or everything's perfect. Like, just
I'll answer it two different ways for you, because there are two different paths.
Yeah.
So in terms of pure technique, I've never ever seen them make a mistake. Gus can play cleaner than anyone I've ever seen in my life. So much so that I filmed a music video with him, and I had to slow it down and watch it and just make sure that he got every single tiny part was completely correct. He's so good that he'd written a solo for this track, hadn't played it for like 6 months, just took a listen to it on his phone and went, oh yeah, and then just shat out this like really hard solo, and it was note for note perfect. And for me, in terms of emotional content in electric solo guitar, it's Joe Satriani. I just love the voice. I love that there's a depth in stuff that he does that hits me in a certain way. But of the people who are no longer here, Peter Green and Jimi Hendrix.
But that's perfection at a different level. I would never have put. I'm not talking about. I wouldn't put either of those, especially not Jimi Hendrix, as I think the fact that Little Wing is such an enduring song, and so many people keep going back to the original. It's been covered 1 million times, and people are going, why can't I get my cover to sound like the original one? It's because the original one isn't perfect, and it moves, and it's like it's perfect because it's imperfect.
That's exactly what it is. That there's a spirit in Jimi Hendrix's playing. Like, did you ever see the stuff on BBC when what's her name? Is it Twiggy or someone introduces them? That's not Twiggy. It's Set of Black, I think. Maybe.
Surprise!
I think it's
Jimi Hendrix.
The Jimi Hendrix.
That's the worst Set of Black accent ever. Sorry.
Yeah. She's like, it's the Jimi Hendrix Experience, here to play you their new hit single, Hey Joe. And he starts playing Hey Joe, and he goes, we're going to start playing this bullshit and start playing something good instead. And he starts playing now, bow, bow. And it's like, oh, it's so good. And it's just raw energy and spirituality in guitar playing. And it, quite frankly, gives me the horn. I can't get away from how good it is, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe I suppose maybe it would have been a better question to phrase it around who have you seen on YouTube that you think is.
Oh,
so I kind of meant like, you know, because there's a lot of people faking it to make it, and we know that, and it's kind of fine. And I don't even necessarily mean, I mean, I fake it to make it. If you see me play on Instagram, less so on YouTube because I haven't got the time to do it. But if you see me post something on Instagram, I've probably recorded that 10 times and chosen the best one.
Really?
Yeah, I like a 2-minute thing. I've probably done it 10 times and gone. I've cocked up.
You're good, man.
No, but am I though? As in,
well,
you know,
I've sat next to you and jammed with you for years.
But you know what I mean. I'm sort of, I'm not, you know, I'm not talking about faking it to the point where I'm miming to anything or I'm quantizing notes to, you know, it's like, but you know. Is everything that you see of me on the internet the one take only? That's it? No. So to a degree, maybe I'm faking it to make it. I don't know. But I mean, as in, who do you see on the internet where you go, yeah, do you know what? That's just, the person. It's just amazing, and it feels natural, and it probably was just one take.
It's this Telecaster guy, and I'm killing myself.
It's not Matteo Sasato then.
No,
he's mine. I think I'm going to say he's mine.
Matteo Sasato is really good, but it's not him, man. I'm going to have to find. Hey, wait a minute. This is my opportunity to use AI. I'm looking for a guitar player that I've seen on the internet recently. He plays a Telecaster. I'm pretty sure he's American,
You know you're going to get Danish people come up, don't you?
A really interesting B-bending system with, I think, 2 or 3 different levers. Do you think you could help me find this guy?
This whole AI thing freaks me out so bad that you can even talk to a piece of software like that.
All day long, this is me, you know. I'm using ChatGPT 5 right now because I have no option.
What does that mean? Is that good or bad?
Well, I mean, it's all bad because it will take over the planet, bleep. It's doing a deep dive search for me, but probably what
can I ask you then? I get just because this came up in some sort of trivia quiz I was playing with my kids the other day. God knows how they're supposed to know the answer. This came up. What was the name of the company in the Terminator movies that invented the Skynet?
Oh, I was going to say Skynet.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, even the question I think was phrased in what? No, that's it. It was, what was the company that invented the Terminator? And of course, Skynet. Everyone goes, it's Skynet. It's not. Skynet was the AI program that they wrote.
Right.
Do you want to know the answer? I'm going to leave it 5 minutes so that everyone watching this podcast is going, damn it, what's the answer?
Wait, is it Brent? Let me have a look and see if it's Brent Mason. It could be Brent Mason.
Well, Brent Mason's been around for years. He's a big gun dog studio player in the States.
It's not Brent
Mason. No.
To be fair, it's recommended some people.
Is it Perry Mason?
Red. Okay, Red Volcat could be him. Let's have a look. Oh, mate, it's not going to be. No, it's not that guy either. It doesn't.
I'll fill the time. I'll tell you the answer. It was
Tell me the answer.
It was Cyberdyne or Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne. Wow.
That was the
That
company
sounds
name.
like an 80s kind of Digitech type brand.
How prophetic are some of those old sci-fi movies, though? Really,
I mean,
it's frightening,
unbelievable.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it really is.
Almost like time travel is a thing, and someone just comes back and goes, I need to warn the world about this thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. If I tell them I'm from the future, no one will believe me. I know. I'll finance a film. This is really the future. Yeah.
Well, but what's I think going to be most interesting about AI is that it will be able to look at something and say whether or not it's real with absolute clarity. You'll be able to say, look at this picture, tell me if it's, look at this video, is it real?
So AI will be able to tell you if something is real.
Yes.
So
that sounds.
So what we're saying is that AI is going to create content that is imperceivably impossible. You know, you cannot perceive whether it's real or not, but then you're going to rely on the AI that generated to tell you whether it was real or not.
There will be tells that an AI will pick up that a human being couldn't. For example, nowadays, say for example, you took a photograph of the moon landing,
Mm-hmm.
and you said, well, can you prove that this photograph from the astronauts on the moon is a legitimate photograph on the moon? You would give it to photographic specialists, scientists. They would analyze the light, the shadows, the flag, all this kind, and then they would come back and say, we think that it's a real photograph or that it's not a real photograph. Whereas nowadays, if you give this kind of information to an AI, it will go beep, and it will tell you yes or no, and then 1,000 reasons that it's measured and weighed up, and give you an answer equal to.
What does it say about the moon landing then? What does ChatGPT-5 say? Is the moon landing from the 60s real?
It says that they probably did go, but that the footage and videos are all fake.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just if you're interested in moon landing stuff, but I mean, just to further that, my brother, Jeff,
The astronaut.
No.
Oh, the other brother. Yeah, sorry.
He's professionally worked in physics and science for many, many, many years, and now actually works helping to design and sell cars for LG. And he said to me many, many years ago, he said, no, it was Cold War propaganda type stuff that we didn't, we probably went there, but everything you see is fabricated in studios and in, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong,
But Captain Kirk's real though, right?
Captain Kirk's 100% real.
100%.
You know what? Wait,
Yeah.
So to end this, because you do a thing, you get some absolutely unbelievable guitars given to you, gifted, or sometimes you make a decision to buy them. And then when I go into Andertons and I look around, I see the same guitars hung on the wall, unloved, and you continually go back to like one or two guitars.
But you're talking about in the studio?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've not been to your new house or whatever.
No. I just meant as in, I hope there aren't any guitars hanging up in the store that are unloved. But I totally agree with you. In the studio, yes, there are unloved.
So, at the moment, there are a number of bits of gear that I would love to acquire. I want me a Helix Stadium.
Right.
Yeah. I'd love a hardtail Strat. Is there anything that you want?
Oh, yeah, good question. I mean, the very, very short answer to that is yes and no. So 100% no, there's nothing that I want. 100%, I guarantee the next time I pick a guitar up in Andertons that I fall in love with, I will buy it. So it's like, I can't predict. I mean, I can't. There's loads. You know what? I'm not the guitar kind of. We have some customers that literally just have to tick every box. I don't have that style of guitar, so I must buy it. And they have 100 guitars in their collection, and they can't possibly play them all, but it ticks a box. And I think sometimes with that, it's like some people have got it bad, right? If you put really bad gear addiction syndrome in the same human being as someone who's really wealthy, then obviously, it gets out of control quite quickly. so there are people like that. I would say I've got enough guitars, like as in I have got too many guitars, but it's not like obscene too many. Like it's probably 15, something like that. So I have enough that I'll go, oh, I sort of, not that I forgot I had it, but I haven't played that for ages. And I pick it up and I fall back in love with it again and remember why I bought it in the first place. And that can have an inspirational upside to it.
Exactly the same thing for me. I recently had a couple of the Chapmans that had been sat on a pallet in Andertons that were mine, shipped over, and then they stayed here and they needed like an input jack or a wire, and I had them fixed. And I got one of the old ML3 Pro traditionals.
So that silver one that you had in a video the other day.
The silver one, but also I got this absolutely stunning ML3 Pro traditional. You know, they did them in the blue and then the sort of black. Those, I love those so much. And
that's
I
still I mean, the black ML3. They're not called ML3 anymore, are they?
No,
Lawmaker. The black half top gold hardware.
It's so beautiful.
It's a great guitar.
It's a great guitar.
No, funnily enough, actually, I bless him. The eccentric genius, most amazing guy on the planet, Mr. Paul Reed Smith, who, you know, whatever your opinion of Paul is, it's like the industry is better. The guitar community and the industry is better for him having him than not. Anyway, I have two PRS guitars. One that I really like, which is a satin finish custom 24, that I don't really like the look of, but it's one of those guitars that's so good you just go, I have to have it. I don't dislike the look of it. It's not really my thing. And then I have one that I love the look of, which is the 594 single cut, the McCarthy, like Les Paul. Which I just don't get on with. I just don't like. Just don't get on with it. And it hangs up in the studio. That's probably one of the unloved ones that you see, and it hangs up and it looks great. So it's like I'm happy to look at it, but I just don't like playing it. And Paul was this like, last time he was here, he's like, let me take it back to America for you. I won't do the accent, you know. Let me take it back to America for you. I'm like, you don't have to, Paul. It's fine. Like, it's okay for me to just not massively love one of your guitars. You know, it's fine. He's like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's like, I'm taking it back. I'm going to refinish it. I'm going to refret it. I'm going to put some different pickups. I'm going to just do this. It's like, and anyway, you can't say no when someone says that. It's like, okay. So anyway, I got the phone call about 2 days ago. I finished it. I'm sending it back. You got to tell me what you think of it when you get it back. So I haven't had it back yet.
Wow.
So we shall see. You never know. If people see me playing the 594 in a video soon, then whatever magic Paul did will have worked. But I'm a simple man, I think. You know, it's like, I'll tell you what I played the other day, which I don't own. I played a guitar with a proper Floyd Rose on it. You know, like the proper expensive, and it's much stiffer than the more affordable ones, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's just nailed on tuning. It just doesn't go out of tune at all. And I think there are so many knockoff versions of a Floyd Rose, and even licensed Floyd, but just like made out of cheaper materials that just don't do the job properly.
Well, this is it. I mean, people's normally their experience of a Floyd Rose is one of the series, you know, 2 notches below a real Floyd Rose.
Yeah.
And they get you, and you get the wear on the knife edge on the post and all this kind of stuff. And that becomes, that's what a Floyd Rose is.
Yeah,
but it's
I don't like it. Yeah. No, so I might, that might get added to the collection. I do, because every time I play a guitar with a great Floyd Rose on it, I enjoy the silliness that a Floyd Rose lets you do that a normal trem system doesn't let you do.
Well, I'm desperate for Chapman to bring out a Floyd guitar, so you never know.
I mean, I wonder how you would do that. Do you just, because if it was a proper Floyd Rose, I mean, that's a £2,000-3,000 guitar minimum, isn't it?
I think you do a limited edition run. You know, you have to make it something special.
I'm fairly sure there is a. We're getting into Chapman product chat here. There is a one below that's good. is it the 1500 or the 2000 series or something?
Yeah.
But that most Floyd Roses are like 1 or 2 below that one even. And I just...
Yeah, we put that one on the MLV, which I have over there, and it's a really, really good tremolo.
The Vega trems are good. You tried a Vega trem?
I haven't.
It's a traditional. It's like a hybrid. It's like, it looks like a Stratty trem, but it's way more floaty, like a Floyd. But I don't know. I think I just want to go full 80s Charvel, proper Floyd Rose.
Did you know that Trevor Wilkinson worked with Wayne Charvel for years? They had their own workshop together. Did you know that?
I can't imagine Trevor being 27 years old. Trevor to me is, just like a sort of a North Country gnome who's old and wizened and knows everything about everything in his little sort of Santa's workshop. I can imagine. Yeah, I guess back in the 70s, he'd have been like cutting edge.
He was driving around. This is the story that Trev told me. He was driving around America. He'd been invited there by Seymour Duncan, and he spotted a car, and he knew that it was Wayne Charvel because of the particular car. So he followed this car home, got out, went, "Hey, you Wayne Charvel?" And this guy went, "Yes, I am." And he went, "I'm Trevor Wilkinson." And then they set up a workshop together.
Sorry, Rob. If I don't say this now, I'll forget. But why have all the American guitar designers got super cool names? Hey, I'm Floyd Rose. I'm Grover Jackson. I'm Seymour Duncan. And over here, we've got, hello, I'm Trevor Wilkinson. It's just like, why did they get all the cool names and we've got all the terrible
what's wrong with Chapman? I think Chapman's a great brand name.
Rob Chapman, that's reasonably cool, but it's not Wayne Charvel or Floyd Rose, is it? Floyd Rose, he's made that name up, hasn't he? Do you think that's his real name? No.
It's his real name. A lot of these names are French, if you think about it, French or Italian. It's the
I'm sorry, you were in the middle of your Wayne Charvel, Trevor.
Well, but they were making 80s shredder guitars. Wayne was learning his craft, and Trevor was helping him design bits and bobs. And then every so often, if they ran out of money, they would buy in a cheap car, do it up together, and flip it to make cash. So they were souping up cars, making guitars at the same time. Man, it just feels like it's a movie that needs to be made. Do you know what I mean?
That's kind of that almost takes me all the way back to kind of that sort of, the music industry. And you talked about DAC and PMT and just sort of, it's like when it's real and it's about the passion, not about making the money, it's just got a certain romance to it. That's what everyone aspires to.
Yeah.
That is it, isn't it? For me, that's what we should all be shooting for. Just that real authenticity. Yeah.
Play authentic.
Yes. I spoke to Mark yesterday.
How is he?
He's very well. Yes, he's very well. He's doing unbelievably well at Gibson. Fair play. They have given him such a great platform for him to really just let his creativity go crazy. But no, he bought a pedal from Andertons.
No way. Was it a Miku?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The Mark Agnesi Miku special. No, it was a pedal that apparently is difficult to get in America, and he bought one from Andertons.
Yeah. Well, we better wrap up the Chap and Lee chat and
I have to say, Rob, it's so easy to lose an hour and a half just talking to you about shit.
Likewise.
I do enjoy it.
We'll do it again. We'll do regulars. Every sort of 4 or 5 months or whatever. I'll say, "Do you want to do another podcast?"
100%.
We'll jump on.
100%. Let's see if anybody's interested about what we've got to say.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're not. I do this because I love chatting to people that are fun. That's all that matters. Anyway, I'll do the podcast. Bye. And then I just stop the recording, and then it's all good.
Did you?
Can't take a ride